Hello and welcome to this week's reading vlog. It is Monday the 2nd of May and I'm actually off work today. It's a bank holiday in Britain, so I'm not working. I have the whole day at home to hopefully do some reading but also catch up on all the errands which I haven't been able to do while I've been away over the previous few days. So the video before this should have been my weekend holiday vlog from my trip away to Wales over the past couple of days. I got back yesterday, I finished off all of my holiday reads yesterday, so I am starting the month on the 2nd of May with a new TBR and a clean slate of reading. I don't yet know what I'm going to pick up in terms of reading today, so as you'll have seen in that video, I finished off the absolute beast that was Master Artificer yesterday. I finally got around to reading this book, and I honestly don't know what to do with myself now I've finished it because I'd put it off for so long, and I've raced through it, absolutely loved it, but I feel very bereft and I finished it. I don't know what I need to pick up, whether I'm best off diving into another fantasy straight away or whether I should read something a bit different, and if so, what genre to pick up. I honestly don't know. I am conscious that for the next couple of weeks it is the next round of Steph from Steph Loves Readathon, the final book support group. So I technically should be making myself read some series continuations and books that I've been putting off. So I have a few options in terms of that. I have recently been carrying on with the Ballad of Sir Benfro series by J.D. Oswald. Sorry, I was looking down at my stack of books to remind myself. I always forget that series name. So I could move on to the fourth one in that series. I've been meaning for ages and ages to get back into the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. I was doing very well with this in the latter part of last year. I was reading about a book a month and got up to, I think, book 6, but then haven't read one of those since, I think, November. So I really do need to get back into that series. So that is a strong contender. What else do I have? I think I've got the prequel to read for the Kingsbridge series, the historical fiction series by Ken Follett, but I only read Column of Fire last month and I'm not really in the mood for the prequel just yet. And technically I finished the main trilogy, so that's not too bad. I do still have some more books in the Last Kingdom series to read as well, by Bernard Cornwell, but again, I've made good progress with that recently and I was kind of happy where we'd got to in the most recent book that I read, so I think I was happy to put that one on hold for a little while. And then I do have a couple of other fantasy series that I've only read the first book for, so I could dip back into those as well. So Rage of Dragons that I read last year, I need to carry on with that one. I've forgotten what that series is called as well, but the first book being The Tiger and the Wolf by Adrian Tchaikovsky, that series I've only read the first one of 2, so I need to get back to that one. Who knows, honestly, I've got loads of things I can choose from, but I'm thinking maybe Wheel of Time is the one I should make myself read next. I don't know. So you will see, I'm sure, later today what I choose to pick up. But as I say, I'm starting the day, nice slow day in the house, just getting some errands done that I've needed to do over the past few days and haven't been able to while I've been away. I'm going to go and make a coffee and then hopefully pick up a book a bit later on and we'll be able to fill you in on my thoughts. So I will see you soon. Okay, so life admin bits sorted. I've had a very productive hour or so of getting bits done there. I'm now on to my second coffee and have decided it is time to sit down and pick up a book. And I did decide in the end to go with the next Wheel of Time book. So I'm up to book 7 in the series, which is A Crown of Swords? Yeah, Crown of Swords. This one is, it looks a bit shorter, but actually I think it's just the pages are a bit more dense, so it's still 725 pages, so not a quick read, but hopefully one I can work my way through over the course of this week. I am also off work on Thursday as well because I'm working the weekend, so hopefully I can have another productive day then. But I will make a start with this. I hope I can remember where we actually got to in the story because I've read this series very strung out and I remember kind of the general themes and things, but I'm not sure about specific events, so hopefully this is very kind to me and makes it very obvious where we'd got to. But I am actually really looking forward to getting back into this series. I do miss it, I love the characters, and it's just ultimate epic high fantasy for me, so fingers crossed this is a good one. So let's get down to some reading and I will update you with my thoughts a bit later on. now Tuesday afternoon. I've just got out of work and I am actually off to the theatre this evening, so probably won't get any reading done, but a group of ladies from my tennis club and myself had booked to go 2 years ago now, and of course COVID happened and we didn't end up being able to go, and it's been postponed and postponed, and I'd actually completely forgotten about it and then was reminded a week or so ago, and so we are going. So I'll be heading out around probably 6:30 this evening, so I've got an hour or so to go home and get myself ready. As I say, probably won't actually be getting any reading done this evening, but you never know, I might squeeze in a tiny bit before I get to go. But nevertheless, I will get back to reading tomorrow. I have made some good progress so far with The Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan. I'm about 200 pages so far into this one. Probably not enough has happened yet for me to give you significant thoughts on this, but I am enjoying it. I am glad to be back in this world, so all positive so far from that point of view. So let's get home, let's get ready, and I will chat to you again a bit later on. Hello, it is now Thursday and I am actually on a day off work today as I am working this coming weekend. So I have today and then I have next Tuesday off in lieu of my weekend days, and I'm pleased to report it's a beautifully sunny day, as you might be able to tell, I'm not sure. It's beautifully bright, the sun is shining, it's actually quite warm as well compared to the last few days too. So I want to take full advantage of this and have a very spring-like day and read some spring-appropriate books. So I'm going to put Crown of Swords on one side for now. I am thoroughly enjoying this and getting on very well, but to me, high fantasy is not particularly spring-like. So instead, I'm going to revisit one of my favourite children's classics, which I have not read for years, but always absolutely loved, and also loved the film version growing up. And that is A Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I have a beautiful old ex-library copy of this book, which I picked up when I was a child from my local library. It's, I think, from the 60s or 70s, and it's very battered and awful looking, but it has the most gorgeous sepia illustrations partway through, so I will show you those shortly. And I'm really looking forward to jumping back into this book. It's such a classic story. It's one, as I said, that I grew up with and just completely loved when I was younger. And the whole kind of self-discovery journey of our main characters, Mary and Colin as well, and the beautiful setting that it describes of this manor house in the Yorkshire countryside and this old forgotten garden that's all overgrown that they discover and have to rejuvenate for the springtime. It's just the most perfectly seasonal appropriate book, and I'm really excited to get back into reading it. I haven't read it for such a long time, so I'm going to go and sit in the garden and dive into that one at the moment, but as I say, I will just show you a few of the beautiful illustrations in this book before I get started. So this is my copy of The Secret Garden. As you can see, it is very, very battered. It was like this when I got it, but I actually remember picking this up for 20 pence, as it says in here, from my library when I was a child. And I'm so glad I did, because it's absolutely worth it. It's worth a lot more than that, in fact. And you can see these gorgeous illustrations in here of various important parts of the story. Say it looks disgustingly filthy, but I have cleaned it many times over the years. It's just because it's so old and it's been so well loved by all the other children who read it before me, which is lovely to have. It's lovely to get that little piece of history, as well as all of the beautiful new books that I have. I do like vintage books, so I will thoroughly enjoy reading this again, I am sure. I'm very, very excited to get back into the story. Just look at this, isn't this so gorgeous? I love these illustrations so much. I love old sepia photographs and pictures, and it just really sets the scene. So we've got another one there. Martha with a skipping rope. And I think I will actually also rewatch the film at some point. I have got an old DVD of the film. I think it's from the 1990s, so it's something I grew up on. I was a 90s baby, so definitely something I would like to revisit soon. So let's get started with this book and let's get some sunshine, and I will chat to you again a bit later. Hello again. So I have finished up in the garden. I have actually nearly completed The Secret Garden already. I've had such a wonderful time reading this. It's just so wonderfully nostalgic, as I hoped it would be. I'm loving reading this physical copy and just reliving all of the childhood memories, all of the wonderful story and the descriptions and everything else that I just loved so much growing up. So I'm definitely going to give this book 5 out of 5 stars, even before I finished it. I know it's a childhood favourite. It would get 5 stars purely for the nostalgia and the descriptions, but also, I find it a very nicely written book. There are elements of it that to a modern audience are a little bit problematic. I mean, some of the language that they use and some of the characters' attitudes towards other characters and kind of the class and racial discrimination and things like that. But that was all very of its time, and for a book that is written at that particular time, I can appreciate it and it doesn't particularly bother me. But just want to address that in case anybody is affected by that sort of thing. But for me, it doesn't detract from the story. I absolutely love this story and it's just been so wonderful to revisit it. So I'm really, really glad I have. I definitely want to rewatch the film later as well. But for now, I am going to actually switch back to Crown of Swords because I have come out on a walk. I'm definitely going to be losing a layer very soon, by the way, because it's really, really warm. It's deceptively sunny and it's just really, really lovely out here. So I've come to the hills as usual, my favourite spot for walking, and I've brought Crown of Swords with me so that hopefully once I've had a bit of a wander, I can sit somewhere and read a bit of my book physically. But I didn't want to bring The Secret Garden because it is so old and fragile and I would be likely to damage it, which is not what I'm interested in doing. So without further ado, let's go for a walk. I'm sure I will show you lots of lovely B-roll and let's have a good time. Just so peaceful and beautiful out here, all of the wildflowers and the trees just bursting with new life. I absolutely love these woods and these fields and forests. I'm so excited to be out in nature today, and I'm really looking forward to sitting and reading in the sunshine as well once I've had a bit of an explore. This is absolutely stunning. I found the most beautiful display of bluebells in this little patch of woodland. It's so, so pretty. I love it here so much. I love this time of year as well, when you can smell the flowers and see that haze of blue as a carpet in the woods. It's just the prettiest thing. And I'm having a wonderful time taking lots and lots of photographs, and I'm sure lots of footage too. So, I have just come out of work and thought I would film an update for you today. I am loving this new camera. I have had to have a new phone because of breaking my other one by dropping it in the bath. Yeah, I'm very clumsy. So, of course, that one was dead, so I needed a replacement. So, I have an updated version of the iPhone and I'm really in love with this camera. The quality is just so much better. I'm not sure if that will actually translate to how it looks on YouTube, but certainly on the screen that I'm looking at, it looks much, much better. The colour is better, it's a sharper picture, so I'm really, really happy. So hopefully you see the benefit of this too. So, as I said, just come out of work and I just wanted to give you a bit of a reading update because I haven't been saying much to you to this vlog over the last few days. And I'm honestly kind of failing with reading at the moment. So I was trying to participate in the Final Book Support Group fortnight long readathon, as I told you earlier in the week, and I'm still doing okay in that I am still reading A Crown of Swords, the 7th Wheel of Time book by Robert Jordan, which is, you know, a continuation of a series, which is the point of the readathon. But I'm just getting through this so slowly. I feel like I just don't have the energy in the evening to sit down and read heavy fantasy. So I'm probably around about halfway of this one, maybe I think 300 and something pages, and it's a 750 page book, so nearly halfway. But it's just very slow progress, and I'm not in the mood to really binge read this one. I'm enjoying chipping away at it, but I was feeling like I needed to start something else and read something else as well. So I have also picked up a completely random book, which I happened upon on Scribd. I was out after my lovely walk at the weekend. I wanted to read something that was kind of about nature or sort of folk tales or something like that, and I just completely by chance on Scribd came across this book called Botanical Folk Tales by Lisa Schneidau, I think you say it. I really have no idea, I'm terribly sorry. But it's just a collection of lots and lots of short stories that are basically following and retelling British and Irish folk tales. And some of them are very, very short and snappy. Others are a bit longer. Some I have heard before, you know, some very famous stories like Jack and the Beanstalk, for example. And then others are completely new to me. There's a lot of references to like fairies and little people and all sorts of spirits of nature and things like that. And they're just really, really well told. So I'm just devouring this. It's an audiobook on Scribd, if I didn't say before. So I've been listening to a little bit in the car on my way to and from work, and also when I went out for a walk the other day as well. And again, just chipping away slowly at this book, but I'm really, really having a good time with it. And it was exactly what I was in the mood to read at the moment. I love learning about folklore, and all the descriptions of the nature in these stories is just beautiful at the moment. It follows the calendar year, so it starts in midwinter and takes you right the way through. So I'm in the summer section now, but it's been lovely to hear all the descriptions of springtime, which obviously we're in at the moment, and which I'm really, really enjoying. So thoroughly enjoying this as a very spontaneous read, but as I said, failing for the readathon because this is not a final book, it's just a standalone. So I don't know how well I'm going to do with this readathon, but at least I'm reading. It's something. We're doing okay. So I'm going to listen to a couple more stories of this on my way home now. And I will update you again a little bit later in the week when hopefully I've got some more progress of Crown of Swords and I can actually let you know more of my thoughts on that one. As I've said previously, I am really enjoying that one. It's just very slow burn for me. There's not tons of action in this particular one at the moment, and it took a little while for me to settle back into the story because I hadn't read the previous book for a number of months. I think it was November I read the 6th one, so it's been like 6 months since I read a book in this series, so it took me a while to catch back up to where we'd got to in the previous book, but it's eased me in gently, it's fine. But I do wish things would start happening a bit more dramatically because I do find these books a little slow sometimes, and then typically all the action happens in the last 100 pages, which I'm a little way off just yet, so I'd like a bit more to happen, but I'm still enjoying them. It's still a really good series, and I had missed my high fantasy, so I'm glad I'm now back in the swing of that after last month hardly reading any fantasy. So that's a very long ramble, so I'm going to head home now, as I said, listen to a few more stories, and I will check in with you again very soon. So very quick update. I've just arrived at work. I am a couple of minutes early, so I just thought I would do a quick update for this vlog and let you know I am in the process of reading a different book. So I don't think I've actually mentioned this yet, but having read and really enjoyed the British Folktales book that I read earlier on in this vlog, I was looking through Scribd at kind of recommendations from that to see if there was anything else in the same vein that I could read. And I came across a book on Celtic mythology by, oh my gosh, I can't remember the author's name. I'll put it on the screen. And so I am listening to another audiobook of folktales. This one it's Celtic mythology, but it basically seems to be all Irish. As far as I've got so far, I'm about halfway through. I don't know if there will be other versions of Celtic culture as well referenced, but it's all Irish so far, most of which I actually didn't know about. So I'd heard of a couple of the famous characters like the hero Cuchulainn and Deirdre the Sorrows and things like that, but mainly I didn't know any of these stories. And it's really fun learning about a different culture. Like with all folk tales and fairy tales and things, they're very strange. They're written in a very authentically old-fashioned way, and they're really odd. Like, everyone seems to be obsessed with cutting off heads, for example, and there's these weird tales of, like, somebody's spirit will go into an animal and then a woman eats the animal and then becomes pregnant, and the person whose spirit it was is reincarnated in that woman. And I'm like, it's just odd. Very, very strange, but it's fun nonetheless. I like the strangeness of fairy tales, and I just love that sort of whimsical vibe that you get with them. And as I say, fun to learn about another old-fashioned culture. So I will continue to read this one. I'm currently just listening to it on my commute, so to and from work, like half an hour to an hour a day. I'm really enjoying having that break from the stresses of work just to distract myself in some new stories. So it's working out pretty well. I'm not sure how long it will take me to read this one, but I might be finished by the end of the week. It might roll over into next week, but I will let you know when I've finished it, my final thoughts. Hello, so I am just checking in to actually finally wrap up this vlog. I feel like it's ended up being a really long one. I've strung it out over the past couple of weeks because initially the plan was a fortnight vlog for the final book support group Readathon, which was over these 2 weeks. I don't think I've particularly achieved that, in that I've only read one continuation of a series and have really dragged it out, and it hasn't made me feel the most accomplished. But I have read another couple of books over those 2 weeks as well, and I have been very busy, so somewhat productive, but doesn't really feel like it's been a final book readathon for me. But never mind, I've been reading, it's been okay. The book in question that was a series continuation, as you've seen already, is A Crown of Swords by Robert Jordan, this being the 7th book in the Wheel of Time series. This was slow. Quite honestly, in one word, this was slow. I like this series, I am enjoying continuing them, I'm very glad to be back in the series, but as has been the case with several of the previous books, there are large chunks of the story where very little actually happens and you don't feel like we're really getting anywhere, and events are not necessarily the most stimulating, and all of the action is just crammed into very short sections, usually right at the end of the book. I mean, the last chapter of this, we get some very major things happen, but they're almost glossed over compared to the immense detail that goes into some of the unimportant things earlier in the book. So it's a bit of a strange one pacing-wise, but as usual, I enjoy the characters in this. I feel like Matt's character in particular really had a good step up in this book. He was someone who actually kind of annoyed me at the beginning of the series, but actually I really enjoy his side of the story now. Perrin, on the other hand, I really liked at the start, and he's now gone kind of boring. So there's a lot of ups and downs, but I have enjoyed seeing the progression of certain character storylines, but on the whole, I feel like this book could just have been way shorter, and I would have enjoyed it more because there wouldn't have been the dragged out sections. So not one of my highest rated in the series, but as I say, glad to have continued the series, and I'm sure I will pick up the next one probably in the next few weeks and just carry on. Now I'm back into it, I feel like I need to read them a little bit more in quick succession, otherwise it takes me so long to get back in the story that I find everything even more tedious and hard work than it should be. So I'm glad I finished this one, but only one book achieved for the final book support group, but it's okay, it's still progress. And the other books I've read, I told you about the British Folktales book that I read, and also Celtic Mythology, both of which I did as audiobooks on Scribd. Still haven't quite finished Celtic Mythology, but I will definitely finish that over the next couple of days. That one I'm finding a little strange, though I am enjoying the stories, whereas the British Folktales one, as I have already said earlier in this vlog, I really enjoyed that one, and probably will actually pick up a physical copy of that because it was really cute and exactly what I wanted at that particular time. So some successful reading done, but I feel like it's been a bit of a slow burn couple of weeks for me, but I have definitely balanced it out by enjoying lots of beautiful nature and having lots of walks. And oh, I forgot to mention I did read The Secret Garden as well, which I think I again spoke about earlier in this vlog. So actually 3 3/4 books over 2 weeks. It's not horrendous. I've definitely had worse reading weeks. But anyway, I think this vlog has been long enough. So without further ado, I will wrap this up here. Thank you very much for watching. As always, leave me a like down below if you enjoyed it. Chat to me in the comments about any of the books I've read, anything else you'd like to discuss with me. I love to speak to you. And please consider subscribing if you'd like to see more content from me. It means a lot and it really, really helps grow my channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you very soon in the next video, which I think will be my Bookoplathon vlog, which is coming very soon. So fingers crossed that one all goes to plan and I can be very productive. And I will see you very soon in the next video. So goodbye for now.